Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
Good morning, Mr. Roberts. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, very good. Can you close that door?
Yeah, give me a second. How's that?
Very good. Good morning, sir.
Good
I would
morning.
have you come right here in the courtroom, but if we need to have a breakout room with legal aid, we can do it from where you are. So why don't you have a seat? Good morning. You're here on a landlord-tenant case. Your landlord isn't here yet, but Ms. Foster is asking you to move out of this property at 309 South Main Street.
Yep.
As such, you have the following legal rights. You have the right to obtain counsel for representation in this matter. If you cannot afford an attorney, a legal aid attorney may be available to help you, and there will be a legal aid attorney here with us if we need some advice. You have the right to have the case heard here in St. Joseph County where the property is. You have a right to a trial by a jury or by the court. If you demand a jury trial, you have to do it here today at this hearing. Or you have to file a written demand within 5 days and pay the $50 jury demand fee unless you get a waiver of that fee from the court. In this case, your landlord isn't asking you to pay rent. She's simply asking you to move. Your lease expired in January. If you are able to reach an agreement outside the court with your landlord and file a conditional order of dismissal, the court must tell you where to find the form or provide that form with you. If both parties are agreeable to mediation, I can set the matter for mediation and help facilitate that. I appreciate your being here in person on time. And like I said, you're in the breakout room, not because I'm afraid to have you here in the courtroom, but if we need to have a consultation, I can do it from there. All right, well, let's wait for Ms. Foster to join us. She is late. That happens a lot, Mr. Roberts. I had two previous people this morning that one lady is almost a squatter. The other lady owes about $5,000 in rent, and neither one of them really had anywhere to go or made any provision to find a place to go. But this landlord-tenant process is a process where the landlord goes through a number of legal steps to try to remove you from the property and get the property back. Now, she doesn't list any reason, but when the lease is expired, I guess she doesn't have to have a reason. I had several cases where the landlords wanted to get out of the landlord-tenant business. They wanted to sell the house, and the tenants were in there, and the buyer wanted to buy the house and move in. So the tenants hadn't done anything wrong. The landlord just wanted their house back. And so we'll see. I'm not sure where Miss Foster is. How long have you been there?
I don't remember the exact date. Sometime June, July 2023.
I could look at the lease.
Yeah.
July 7th of 2023.
Okay.
Have you looked for a place to go?
I have, but with my felony, it's hard to find a place. And when I'm being on Social Security and unable to find a job, I can't afford an apartment. And I'm on a couple waiting lists at the government assisted, what those called subsidized apartments. And well, like I said, I'm on the waiting list. I haven't heard nothing.
Yeah, every one of them has a waiting list. How about your parents' old house? Could you go back there with your sister?
I'm waiting on the polygraph test. My PO, every time I ask her, says she's waiting on the guy that does it to schedule her. So that's all I know. That would be what I would like to do, is move back in there, but that's not an option right now.
Okay. Does your PO know that you've got this notice to quit?
Yep, I'm supposed to get a hold of her after this meeting to let her know how it went.
Who is your PO?
Bobby Joe Newland.
Did she help place you here in this place?
Yes, and she did give me another number that I called, but that guy said he's got 2 other people interested, and he's supposed to be getting a hold of me with a yes or a no when they give him a yes or a no, and I haven't heard anything back yet.
All right. Well, you haven't been sitting around. It sounds like you've been proactive. You're on waiting lists. You're talking to other landlords. This place is kind of a transitional housing for felony defendants that Miss Foster runs. It's almost like a rooming house. But I don't know where she is.
I don't really know how to say this. I believe it's legal aid that just texted me, but they reminded me that I'm supposed to mention the reason I believe she's evicting me is back in November, I lost power to my room completely. No lights, no outlets, no nothing. So I put my rent in escrow, and I am missing a month's worth of rent in escrow. I had to buy gas and things like that in 1 month. But I still have no power in my room at all. And I stopped paying rent so they would fix it, and they did a couple of things that worked for a few hours, and then they quit working, and then they just stopped working on it and gave me an eviction notice.
Meg, so Meg, you're aware of this case?
I am. I obviously couldn't disclose that until he did. But yes, I am aware of this case.
Well, that's certainly a legitimate reason to withhold your rent, that you don't have any electricity in your room. Do you have plumbing? There's a common bathroom kitchen, is that correct?
Correct, yep, I have a bathroom and a kitchen. And an extension cord that runs under my door. That way I can run my sleep apnea machine at night, but even that outlet doesn't work quite right. If I try to plug more than 2 things in, like a phone charger and a TV, it shuts off and kills the breaker.
All right, well, I'm gonna give her about 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna dismiss this case for plaintiffs failing to appear. Sounds like you need to get out of there anyway, Mr. Roberts, so it does sound like you're looking for other options. How much, well, how much is the rent? Let me look at this lease. So you're contending it's a retaliatory eviction for withholding the rent.
Yep.
Now, this is in the city of Three Rivers, and Three Rivers has a code enforcement officer. And as a rule, most of the, not most, the properties in Three Rivers generally are up to code, which is reassuring for me. When the properties are out in the townships, it's like the Wild West. Some of the stuff, you couldn't rent it in Three Rivers or Sturgis because it isn't up to code. This doesn't sound like it's up to code. How long have you been without power?
I got it wrote down. Give me 1 second. Memory says November 28th, but I'll get you an exact date in a second.
And Judge, I can tell you that we've made a Freedom of Information Act request to the city. We're just, we did that on Monday and are waiting for the response still.
Regarding the inspections?
Exactly, yeah.
I just got a new phone and I don't have my old notes, but November 28th, if it's not the exact date power went out, it's very close.
Well, that's a good date. So, all right, I'm just gonna leave you here for a minute. And I don't know where Miss Foster is, but if she doesn't show up, the matter's gonna be dismissed. So stay right where you are. And Meg, if you'd stay with me, I have a general civil case at 10, and the defendant, Ms. Lehman, is here. All right, Mr. Roberts, I'm going to file an order dismissing your case.
What does that mean exactly, as far as where I can live goes?
Well, you can live there. The case is dismissed. Plaintiff failed to appear. If she wants to evict you, she's either going to have to make a motion to set this default aside or start all over again.
I see.
If you don't have any electricity, I would advise you continue to follow the advice of legal aid and put your rent into escrow, which is good also because you may need it for first month's rent and deposit at another place. But
Right.
ultimately, you need to get out of here. But maybe she talked to somebody and I don't know. But if the city comes and inspects it, they might condemn it. Then you got a whole new problem. That you can't live there because it's condemned. But you keep doing what you're doing to find other housing.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
still have your driver's license?
Yep,
All right. Well, you got irons in the fire, both at your old family home, at some other places, but I don't like this, that you're living there with no electricity. But you got legal advice and this case is dismissed, so she can't evict you. If she wants to, she has to start all over again. Okay?
yep, that
I will
answers.
send you a copy of that order. In fact, let me see if I got one in here. Elaine, would you do an order, a landlord tenant order, so I can show that it's dismissed and give it to Mr. Roberts before he leaves? All right, Mr. Roberts, go out to the office. I'll get you a copy of this order before you go.
Okay, do you want me to hit leave on a little button down here?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks. Well, I don't like that much. I got Department of Correction, probationers, parolees living in this house, and it is not up to code. I suspect your FOIA is gonna stir things up with the city inspection department. And,
I did wonder about that. I've reached out to a couple other connections that I've got to get a little more insight on what's going on with this property. It's listed on the Department of Corrections list of potential homes to move into. So we'll certainly stay in touch on.
well, we certainly have a need for that. He also has some other problems. He can't live close to a school and he's got some other issues that make his housing more difficult, but hopefully they can work something out.